This episode of the LCTV News is brought to you by Encompass Health, Rehabilitation Hospital of New England, and North Shore Community College. If you have the will to attend college, we have the way for you to earn your degree.
Hello and welcome to LCTV News. I'm Dani Vittori, and this week was Tulip Pride and graduation celebrations as summer is in full swing. Neighbor to Neighbor came by for another visit to discuss their upcoming initiatives and the housing situation in the city. Here's the news for Friday, June 23rd, 2023. Two Life Communities has been selected by the city to redevelop the former site of Thurgood Marshall Middle School. Lynn has been trying to sell the property since 2018 to no avail, and according to both the Planning Department and Mayor's Office, they are happy to be taking this step to revitalize the land. Two Life Communities was selected out of 4 finalists due to providing a feasible financial strategy, possessing the means to carry out such a large project, and proposing the largest amount of housing units at no more than 50% of the AMI. The low-income housing tax credits needed for funding will be acquired over a 2-year cycle, so it is likely that the land sale will not take place until 2025. However, until then, Two Life will be taking over maintenance and responsibility for the property. This includes the addition of fences, gates, and cameras for added security. They are planning on putting in 114 affordable units, 2 of which will be designated for house resident site managers providing 24-hour support. Pathways held their graduation ceremony this past Thursday the 15th. They provide adult education and training in areas such as family literacy classes, vocational and technical training, as well as student support services. Here's more.
Today marks a huge step in the transformation of all of your lives. Your sacrifice, your dedication, your hard work got you here today.
I would like to congratulate the Pathways organization, all of the staff, board members, volunteers on creating an amazing program that we have an opportunity to celebrate today as we celebrate the graduates. And I tell folks, the city of Lynn has ambitious residents. You all embody that.
Pathways is one of very few programs in the state to have a Spanish language HiSET or GED program. It's one of the many things that makes us special in the state. Today's graduation is not an end. It's one part of a larger journey of life. As you leave Pathways and begin the next chapter of your life, remember what you have achieved here. Use the confidence that you have gained at Pathways to keep moving forward. Always keep moving forward. Everyone here wants this to be your first step to a better future for yourselves and a better future for your families. So congratulations.
There have been several instances in recent years when the Red Cross declared a national blood shortage. According to them, every 2 seconds, someone in the United States needs blood, either from an illness or accident. However, the amount available often falls short of this need. To this end, the FDA approved a new rule on May 11th, which would allow monogamous gay and bisexual men to donate blood without abstaining from sex for 3 months prior. The original restrictions stemmed from the AIDS crisis in the 1980s when little was known about the disease. Under the new guidelines, those taking medication to prevent or treat HIV are still asked to wait, but it does allow for more people in the LGBTQ+ community to donate. Last Friday was the annual Lynn Fireworks Golf fundraiser at Gannon Golf Course. About 90 golfers came to participate in a scramble tournament, as well as enjoy food and raffle prizes to support the 2023 Lynn Fireworks. Take a look.
We need to take every advantage of these kinds of events. These events, activities make our city bustling. There's more and more. The fireworks is something that we all look forward to all year long. And it brings people together. And in today's world, coming out of COVID, people figuring out how to relate to one another again, having these huge gatherings is so important for us to celebrate one another, to celebrate our country, to celebrate our home, and to celebrate the city of Lynn. You all make all that possible. Thank you all the folks that work every day, all year round to advance our city. We are so grateful and appreciative. Have fun today. Thank you.
Hi, Lisa and Eric. I'm here for the Fireworks Fund, and we have our annual golf tournament at Gannon Golf Course.
My name is Wendy Pena. I'm also part of the Fireworks Committee.
And also joining us at the golf outing is our other committee members, Allison Perry, Anne-Marie Leonard, Joanna Mills. We'd like to thank our sponsors, and we'd like to thank Mayor Jared Nicholson for his continuous support for the fireworks. We have 92 golfers playing today here at Gannon Golf Course, and after golf we have a nice dinner upstairs, and we have some great raffle prizes to raise money also for the Fireworks Fund for July 3rd at Red Rock.
The Lynn Family Forward Research Center has created a survey to learn about what the community thinks are the greatest challenges and issues they are facing. The motto of Lynn FFRC is do whatever it takes, and their services span from parenting skills workshops to assistance with housing to a clothing and diaper closet. Their goal is to strengthen bonds within families, engage with the community, and connect with others. To this end, the survey is a way for the Lynn FFRC to learn what new resources, classes, or workshops they should offer to best serve the community. There was a Juneteenth celebration at the Lynn Museum on the 17th, hosted by the North Shore Juneteenth Association. Local vendors occupied tables around the perimeter as a variety of artists performed for onlookers. Here is more from the event.
My name is Nicole McLean, and we are here with the North Shore Juneteenth Association, of which I am president and founder. This is Wendy Joseph. She is the clerk for the North Shore Juneteenth Association. Today, we are celebrating the Juneteenth holiday here at the Lynn Museum. This is our third year in a row celebrating here, and our second year inside due to the rain. We have vendors.
I make lip balm, lip scrub, nail polish, bracelets.
Wow.
Lip balm, natural lip balm, bronzer, eyeshadow, mascara, eyeliner.
They are all what?
And they are all natural products,
Right.
no harsh chemicals.
Right. And they're all a different process, right? They're not, It's not all the same.
Yeah. It takes like a week to make one batch sometimes. It takes another week to make another batch sometimes.
So we make small batches.
Yeah.
And we do one item a day, pretty much.
Yeah.
She's home food, so this is part of her like science and math.
We're going to have performances of song, rap, dance. We also have coming up in the future our Diversity Matters Festival, which will be held August 12th. And we have our Frederick Douglass event that's happening July 3rd. Come today, more importantly, for the celebration of the Juneteenth holiday. It is a celebration of freedom and emancipation for Black Americans. It is a celebration of Black achievement. It is a celebration of our culture. And we must remember that Black history is American history, so all are welcome.
St. Stephen's Episcopal Church is running a 4-week summer enrichment program for kids aged 1 to 6. It will run from July 10th through August 4th from 8:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Mondays through Fridays. Breakfast, lunch, and a snack will be provided, and there is a max occupancy of 40 children. Registration is $35, but the program itself is free, with registration open until July 10th or until all spots are filled. Anyone wishing to participate can sign their child up and submit immunization records either through an online link or by going to the church, 74 South Common Street. Participants will be entertained through art, music, reading, crafts, theater, and several field trips in the community. As part of a Pride-filled week, there was a Pride flag raising at City Hall on the 20th. Members of the local and state delegations were in attendance, as well as members of the LGBTQ+ community and community at large. Take a look.
Happy Pride! Happy Pride! Remember, love is love. That's all we need to know. I'm just going to explain what the progress flag means. Red is for life, orange is for healing, yellow is for new ideas, green is for prosperity, blue is for serenity, black, brown, people of color, white, blue, pink, trans people. The yellow, purple circle is intersect. This flag was created by Morgan Cappington. Wonderful flag that he created because it's not only for one, but it's for everybody.
I came out in 1988 in Washington, D.C. in the middle of the HIV/AIDS pandemic, and we had a pink triangle button that we used to wear that said silence equals death. And that saying has stayed with me throughout my entire life because as we see around the country right now, your silence will not protect you. It takes people like me and Coco who are elected officials who stand up for LGBT rights, but it also takes every ally possible.
I want to just communicate on behalf of the city, on behalf of my colleagues, a message of support to the entire LGBTQ+ community, particularly Black and brown folks in that community, particularly to trans youth, particularly to those who are feeling vulnerable. That we stand with you. There is a place for you in Lynn, and we embrace you. This flag that we're raising today means a lot of things to a lot of the people, but I think one of the things it can mean for us is that journey that we want to support for those individuals who are finding themselves and finding their identity, that they're welcome to do it here in Lynn, and we support them in doing it.
Happy Pride!
Free meals for kids and teens are returning next week on Monday, June 26th. IDs and sign-up are not required, and the meals are available at locations all around the city. This includes elementary schools, such as Callahan and Washington, the middle schools at Pickering and Marshall, as well as Classical, Tech, and English High School. Go to lyntv.org for a complete list and more information. Later on the 20th was the annual Rainbow Bridge lighting at Central Square. Due to technical issues, the underpass lights, installed by Beyond Walls in 2018, were unable to be turned on. But that did not deter the crowd, as they instead used confetti poppers to mark the occasion. Here is more.
So we're here at the Rainbow Bridge lighting, one of the events of United Lynn Pride, and it's just an event for the community to come out and be together here in the downtown area, enjoy, and just for us to have a good time, celebrate experiences of queer joy, as well as just bring the community together.
We were here together with the founders of Lynn Pride, basically, which started the flag raising here in Lynn 15 years ago in that small little plot there, not even in the property of the City Hall. They did the raising of the flag in the center island, and there were like 6 or 5 people there. For me to see the amount of people now and the double or triple the amount of people during the flag raising, it's just a phenomenal experience to see.
This event is so important as part of Pride. and also just as part of Pride in the city of Lynn, because I feel as though the LGBTQ+ community hasn't really been featured as much as it should be here in the city. Historically, we have had a thriving nightlife for the LGBTQ+ community, but since that's gone, there's sort of been a gap that needs to be filled.
What a great place to do this, right here in the center of the city, for us to tell the whole world that Lynn stands with the LGBTQ+ community, and we are proud of all of our residents, and we will continue to do everything we can to make everybody feel welcome, seen, heard, included, supported, embraced, and just truly feel that they are a Lynner that feels all of our love.
And all of United Lynn Pride's events, although the focus is on the LGBTQ+ community, it's also about Lynn. It's about highlighting issues in Lynn because those also affect our community. It's about really connecting to the whole entire city as a whole.
Unfortunately, there has been technical difficulties and we cannot get the bridge to light, but we're still very proud. 2, 3!
As part of their mission to promote healthy eating and nutrition, the DeMarcus YMCA opened their brand new rooftop garden. Kids at the Y can manage their own great gardens while learning how to farm and the seed-to-table concept. The garden, which has been in talks for about 2 years, was built by the Connolly brothers and opened to the public this past week on the 22nd. With 160 gardens, not only is it a place for kids and staff to learn how to grow and nurture their food, but it also provides a calm, tranquil environment for them to relax. A presentation of 100 Years of Boston Comedy took place at the Senior Center yesterday, the 22nd. From the early days of live theater to the streaming of today, seniors gathered to hear about how the craft has changed over the years. Take a look. On Thursday, June 22nd, the Senior Center hosted a presentation on 100 Years of Boston Comedy. Put on and moderated by Lynner Nick Zano, the extensive history of Boston comedy is explored, using images and sound bites from some of the most famous comedians of the time. Spanning from vaudeville in the early 1900s.
Presses had the live entertainment on a grand scale and was where the modern notion of a stand-up comedian was born. Until a few weeks ago, Fred Allen had occupied the spot of Boston's first live comedy superstar. But as I kept researching the history of Boston comedy, I kept finding more voices to include, and that led me to Eva Tangway, known as the Queen of Vaudeville, or as she sometimes calls herself, the girl who made vaudeville famous.
To modern-day YouTube performers, all eras were covered, beginning with live theater, to radio, to the rise of television in the 50s.
There were no full-time comedy clubs in Boston, or really anywhere, when Crosby started in the 50s. So he played weekend clubs around the suburbs and surrounding towns like Lowell, Springfield, Worcester, and Lawrence, and took corporate gigs at hotels and conventions.
The likes of Fred Allen, Rusty Warren, and Norm Crosby were highlighted, before moving to more modern-day acts such as Jay Leno and Sam Jay. From LCTV News, I'm Dani with Dora. And now, the sports update. Chanel Gutierrez of KIPP Academy's baseball team was named the most valuable player of the Commonwealth Atlantic Small Conference. Gutierrez is described as a second coach during practice and on the field and has been playing catcher for 10 years. He hit .680 this year with 27 RBIs and 9 runs scored. Additionally, he stole 18 bases and threw out 14 runners on the defensive side. He was shocked and honored to receive the award, but his mindset remains on uniting a young team with no seniors and winning more games next season. The Navigators finally notched a win in walk-off style versus the leading Newport Gulls 4-3 in 10 innings. Before this, they had lost their previous 2 2-0 also against the Gulls, and 12-9 to the Vermont Mountaineers. They moved to 3-7 on the year and snapped a 6-game losing streak against a hot Newport team who had begun the season 8-2. It was 2-0 Navs headed into the 9th, but the Gulls scored twice to force extra innings and scored again in the top of the 10th to lead 3-2. Stan DeMartinez II then had the walk-off hit in the bottom of the 10th to secure the victory for North Shore. They fell just short of another dramatic victory, falling 8-7 to Mystic Valley in 11 innings. The Red Sox completed a 3-game sweep of the New York Yankees this past weekend. The bats were red hot as Boston recorded 17 hits for a dominant 15-5 win on the 16th. Justin Turner blasted a grand slam and was responsible for 6 of the Sox runs. The 1-2 punch completed the sweep as the Red Sox took both games on a doubleheader on Father's Day. They were down 1-0 to begin each game, but rebounded to win 6-2 and 4-1. In the later game, Brian Bayo was lights out, going 7 innings, only allowing 4 hits compared to 8 strikeouts. Tristan Casas came up big in the 5th, knocking in 2 insurance run with a bases loaded 2-out double down the right field line. They extended their win streak to 4 with a 9-3 road victory over the Minnesota Twins. Jarren Duran knocked 3 doubles in his 3 at-bats for 2 RBIs, while Alex Verdugo added on another 4 runs. They went on another hitting frenzy on the 20th, scoring 10 runs on 14 hits, led by Christian Arroyo, who had a 5-hit game, before finishing up the series with a 6-0 loss. This week on the Lowdown, we welcome back the lead organizer, as well as a member of the Housing Committee from Neighbor to Neighbor. They focused on growing rent prices and the rising problem of housing insecurity in Lynn. Here's the Lowdown. Good afternoon and welcome back to the Lynn Lowdown. I'm Dani Vittori, and today we have on 2 members from Neighbor to Neighbor. Thanks for joining us on the show today.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
So, real quick, do you all just want to introduce yourselves and the role that you play within the organization?
Sure. I'm Gabe. I'm the lead organizer for Neighbor to Neighbor in Lynn.
I'm Sarah. I'm part of the member for like 6 months now, and I'm proud of being part of Neighbor to Neighbor.
All right, fantastic. And we have talked to you before on the Lowdown generally about what you do, the really impressive outreach between housing, security, I have it all written down, transparency, everything else like that. But the main thing that you wanted to talk about today was the Electoral Policy Platform, which is what?
Yeah, so basically we care a lot about who represents the community and how they're representing us, and about the issues that are focused on in the local elections, because we know that our local officials are the people that make a lot of decisions that impact our lives. And so we've gone through this process of creating a platform so that we know that what we stand for as our membership, as sort of diverse working people in Lynn, and it has a number of sort of different points, but so that we can communicate clearly and see where the candidates stand on the issues that our folks care about.
Mm-hmm. Trying to connect between the elected officials and people they represent, seeing if they represent the issues that you care about.
Yeah.
And Sarah, you said your big thing is housing, correct?
Yes.
So that's what you focus on mainly?
Yes.
And like what pieces of housing, like security?
Yeah, how our city has changed since after COVID, and people are crazy now thinking how they're gonna pay their rent, increasing every single month. So it's a big deal now.
Yeah, and I mean I think Sarah's a member of our housing committee that's working on sort of pushing for to address the housing crisis, because like she was saying, it's like we have members who people aren't sure whether they're going to be able to keep living in the place that they're living because the rent is constantly going up, and the places that are available are not good quality, and there's all these new luxury condos, and people can't afford to stay in the places that they've been living.
Mm-hmm. You either have to pay $2,000 a month to get anything.
A studio apartment.
Yeah, studio apartment. You get one room.
Yeah. It's nuts. And like, yeah, I don't know if you want to share at all about what you're dealing with housing or other people you know about in the community.
I moved in 2013 from New York, and I see now the big difference between that time today, and it's like a really big, huge to like how I'm gonna pay my rent. I don't know, but I live in the hood where the owner, they selling the buildings to like renew it to people who can afford more money, or they can pay more money. And my situation, I think, is something that gives me a lot of headache, thinking that I have to move one day soon because they're waiting for people like me to move so they can rent for other people. They can maybe it's hard.
Yeah. No, which isn't a right thing to happen. No, it should be forced out, especially because of very unsustainable increases.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. I mean, we work also with, a partner of ours is Lynn United for Change, and they work with a lot of tenants in the city, and they talk to people whose rent is raised, $500, $600 a month, and it's like that's impossible for people a lot of the time.
Yeah, because it's not like you can then go into work and go, all right, I need to raise $1,000. No.
Just to pay my rent, which I can already barely pay. Yeah.
And I noticed that one thing that you mentioned in a lot of things is wanting to have people to have dignity in their jobs and their housing. So that seems to be another really big theme for you as well.
Yeah. Do you want to speak to that at all, Sarah?
Yeah. Sometimes it's hard when you have a regular job like me, and you have to divide your monthly payments to think, should I pay this? Should I buy food? It's a lot of things that come in my mind. Like, it's getting crazy every day. Never want to get an eviction. So I say, first my rent. If I don't eat, it's okay. But, it's something that in my community, not only me, I think a lot of people, they're just dealing with, or you live with dignity, or you just stay in the street.
Yeah, and I think it's like living like all of these things with dignity. It's like we don't want people just to be surviving. We want people to be able to thrive and like have full communities and full lives and like spend time with their families, like where they're not like working 3 jobs just so they can stay in their apartment that that has rats and roaches and other crap that they have to deal with. And yeah, our members talk about it all the time. It's like what people are going through on a daily basis just to try to provide the best for their families. Yeah.
And there's definitely, at least we found, connections between mental health, emotional well-being, and also physical. I mean, there's connections between all of it that you're trying to really address.
Yeah, totally. Do you want to talk about that at all?
Yeah. In my situation is one of those things that is really touched my heart when I used to be homeless in New York with nothing, and I came here thinking there's gonna be a better future for my kids, and after COVID, it's crazy. My mental health is sometimes here and there, and it caused me a problem with my kids because I only say I have to be good for them. And I don't know if you remember last time we went to the city hall, and one of my sign was saying, I want to live with dignity, but I want to be okay in here. And I try, but it's hard waiting for that moment just to have the rent control.
Yeah.
I wish one day, right?
Yeah, no, totally. That's what we're fighting. That's one of the things we're fighting for. And I think, like you said, it's so tied together if people don't know whether they're going to be able to live in their place. And for kids too, like people talk about issues in the schools, so much of so many kids are in families either that are experiencing homelessness or that are in fear of homelessness or don't have a stable home. And it's all of these, like you said, all of these things are interconnected, and it's how do we think about them comprehensively in a way that is really about realizing that our system does not provide people with the basic things that they need. Yeah.
I want to ask something that happens to me like 2 months ago with my little one. He always said, Mom, why we live here? Mom, what happened? Why we don't move? And I don't know if you remember, it touched my heart because I say, Bambi, this is the only place that I can afford right now. And he said, but I want to have my own room because I live in a small studio apartment. And he's complaining all the time. He want to like do his stuff in his own room. But you know, I say one day, because this is the only place that I can pay right now. And it's hard. Mentally, we are not okay, but we try, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, like, Sarah is like an incredible mom, one of the most incredible moms I've met, and it's like, what are you supposed to do? She's working, like, you know, it's like, there's only so much you can do as a single parent when the cheapest place you can find for a 1 bedroom is like over $1,600. Like, what are you supposed to do?
Mm-hmm. So what you said, and so what Gabe said does, it sounds like you are an incredible single mom and you do everything for your kids. Like you put everything towards them.
Yeah.
And for anyone who wants to get involved with other people in a similar situation as you, or any situation really, how would they like go about connecting with you to try to find others?
Yeah, I mean, they can call, my number is up there, they can call me, they can come by we have our member meetings are once a month. It's usually I didn't give you that information, but it's on our pages and stuff. It's you know, usually the first Wednesday of the month, but usually people just reach out to me or to one of our folks, one of our members, and you know, I think it's you know, we go to different events, we show up in different places because it's really about building community and building power in the community, because I think we don't want just like, people don't want handouts, people don't want just more programs. We want a seat at the table so that we can say like, look, the community actually really knows what it needs, and like the people closest to the pain are closest to knowing what the solutions are. Give us a seat at the table and we will bring our people and we will have a conversation with you and sit down and figure out how we, you know, come to these solutions. And that's kind of what we want to get across in this electoral platform, is we want people not just who say they believe in the things that we believe in, but are willing to actually take the grassroots, take people from the community seriously and sit down with us and have a real conversation, which, you know, that's what we want.
And it's a major year because it is an election year for you, a big one in the city. So you have so many candidates that you're looking at.
Yeah.
That's a big chance for you to say, okay, which ones would really maybe try to help us or give us this opportunity to have that conversation.
Right, exactly. Who will be an ally, who will stand up with us and stick their neck out for working people, you know?
Mm-hmm. And, you know, it feels like it's such a short time period, but we have to wrap up in a minute. Is there anything that I hadn't discussed or mentioned that you wanted to make sure we talked about?
Anything you want to share?
I think, in my opinion, all these candidates, they need to really pay attention to what happened, the crisis that we have now in the city, and a lot of drugs addicts, a lot of people homeless. They all need to come together. We all, as a community, we need to come together, because in summertime is the hard time. I live in the hood, and for me, it's hard to see how much people are in the street dealing with a really worse situation than mine. So I want they can compromise and say, we need to take care of our community. We need to work with our people, because my kids, for me, they are the future. And if my kids, they keep seeing that, you know, they're gonna think that this is normal, this is okay. Yeah. Our candidate, they're never gonna fight for us. And it's something that I want one day to have a conversation with the mayor to see. They have to be control. They have to be under control. They have to be, because I think we deserve as a community. In my opinion.
Yeah. No, and I'll just add. I think that's really well said, Sarah. And I like just to add to that. I think it's like that's not like the people who are experiencing substance use challenges, people who are experiencing homelessness, like there's such a pervasive idea that it's like people's internal fault, that the problem lies within the person. The problem is in the system, and it's hurting people, and that's why we need people in elected office who will work with the community to say, how do we change the system to really meet the need of what's going on? We can't place the blame within individuals who've been put in these situations in like really, really terrible ways where you don't, it's just you're put in a lose-lose situation. So I think we we really believe that if we can bring together the grassroots and those in elected office to come up with solutions and figure things out together, like that's the path to a better, safer, more caring city.
Yeah. Well, you definitely have the passion for it, and as I said, you've done really great work in the city, and I'm excited to see where you go from here. And thanks for talking about it with me.
Thanks so much for having us in.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Anytime. And once again, I'm Dani Vittori. This has been the Lynn Lowdown, and we will see you next week with more guests. Now, the community calendar. Monday, the 26th, Mayor Nicholson, State Representative Dan Cahill, Ward 1 Councilor Wayne Lawsey, and State Senator Brendan Crichton are hosting a public information session focused on improvements being made to Broadway. Taking place at Briarcliff Lodge at 6:30 p.m., members of the community are invited to hear about safety improvements, the project timeline, and next steps, followed by a Q&A session. From 5 to 7 p.m. on Tuesday the 27th, the Lynn Public Health Division is hosting an Impact Melanoma community event at the Democus YMCA. This is in collaboration with the Lynn Police and Fire Departments, the MGB Van, the Food Project, the Lynn YMCA, and Impact Melanoma to educate the community on cancer. Additionally, there will be giveaways as well as summer safety tips. Next Friday the 30th, the Lynn Museum is hosting another edition of Final Fridays with a Summer Fest. There will be live music, food vendors, and art making, and is free and open to the public. The event will run from 6 to 9 p.m. at Frederick Douglass Park. That is all the news for this week. For more on these events and all events on our community calendar, go to lyntv.org. Also subscribe to @Lynn Community Television on social media for updates from around the city. And go to Lynn Community Television on YouTube for staff and member content, as well as other videos and interviews. I'm Dani Vittori, this is LCTV News, and we will see you next week.